Greetings, welcome back to my channel. If you see the smile on my face, it's because I am super duper excited on what we are about to view this season. I don't know why I haven't reviewed this show before in the past, because I've been riding with it from day one, and that is Sisters. But we are Sistas, excuse me. But we are into what, season 4 already? Episode 12. It popped off crazy when we ended, but these are some of our favorite characters. And sometimes I get a little upset with Tyler, I must admit. I'm like, Tyler, what you doing with the writing? Sometimes I'm like, no, what happened? You didn't tie X, Y, and Z up. Because sometimes I'm like, this storyline. But guess what? I'm still tuning back in. Who's like that the same as me? Put it, type your comments, because definitely I gotta hear it. So queens or kings, if you stopping by, and yes, I do not discriminate. I want to hear from the gentleman, because I want to get a male perspective on what's going on in these women's lives and the people that are in their lives, influencing their lives and shaking up their lives. So it's good to get both sides. So jump in there so we can dialogue. But it kicked off just as crazy as it kicked off last season. But before I get started, please, thank you for stopping by. Keep on watching. Click like. Please share with your friends, family. Hit subscribe. I would really appreciate it that you view the content that I offer, and as time goes on, it'll just get better and better. Now let's get into it. It started off with our girl Fatima going Rambo like she always does. She got up in Hayden's house, and old boy Gary was there, and she was upset. Number one, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? You two know each other? Gary concocted some story. Yeah, we did business a while back, whatever. We friends. Andi, no, whatever. You knew she was going to make sure that her girl knew. But yeah, so that was crazy. He's not answering her questions, and you don't come straight with Fatima and that bat. Oh, you better answer something. Home girl, bam, started smashing stuff on, I don't know, his table or whatever, messing up his little antique pieces. Sorry, Hayden, you better speak up. I would have made up something in my head, but of course he knew nothing she was talking about. We know he had nothing to do with Zach being arrested, but she doesn't know that. That's what you get, Hayden, when you always on her and her man's back. Still acting all thirsty over some little fling. She should have never gave her brother none, because now you crazy and your ego is shattered because you feel that Zach is below your standards. But Zaggity Zach, he all right with me. So now your little punk, you know what? You ain't gonna get me, you two. But you know what? Now whining and moaning and groaning, and Fatima is not one to be played with. You got punched in the nose not too long ago, right? Didn't you? Shall I remind him? So you should have learned your lesson. But anyway, you still don't got no answers. Gary still ain't got no answers. You may be an innocent bystander, but you getting a little taste of the rage of Fatima, okay? A sister do not play. So she went crazy. He not answering. There goes your TV. Bam! There goes the TV. SWAT. Sister probably could play baseball real good. She banged that TV up. All of his good stuff was getting jacked. Now I was taking a little back, because I'm like, he's like, that's my father's urn. Yeah, sister picked up the urn with his father's ashes. Did she care? No. Smashed it? No. First she dumped the ashes, then she smashed it. I'm like, oh Lord, forgive me. You're going to have a prayer on that, because I was like total disrespecting the dead Fatima. But she blacked out when it comes. Let me tell you something. You don't mess with a woman's children, her food. Yes, I said food. Her money, and definitely not her man. Because when it comes to Zach, oh, she got his backity back. Okay? She don't play when it comes to Zach, and I don't blame her. But yeah, you gonna learn today, Hayden, if you do not know. So she smashed it, but then she gets a call. Bring! Zach answers the phone, and oh my God, She finds out that Hayden has nothing to do with him being locked up, but he's home now. Told her to come home. She's like, okay, I'm about to go. My bad. He's like, excuse me. She basically told him, just consider this as your mess up for the next time, because I know you're gonna do it again. And no, she wasn't sorry, and she left. In the meantime, he had called the cops or whatever on her, and she was rolling outside when her phone rings, and then Andi calls and tells her, because of course Gary, when he was in the house, he contacted her and said, you need to check on your girl Fatima. So she was like, oh my God, Gary called you. She said, yeah. And then she said he was here with Hayden. And she was like, what? Hayden? What they doing together? She said the same thing. He was like, you okay? She's like, yeah, I'm good. She was like, you sure? Or whatever. So that was that. But both of them were suspicious of Gary being there, and with good cause. Okay? So now she leaves. That's that. Move on to the next scene. Our girl Sabrina, remember she went out with old boy? She with her African king, and they are getting it in at some club, I guess some African club. The music sound good, and they was having a good time, and she needed that stress reliever from the mess she been going with old boy. What's his name? Oh my God. So she wasn't dealing with him. I guess this was a breath of fresh air. She really didn't want to leave him that night, but she didn't want to have any regrets the next morning if she went ahead and, brought him home or went to his home and slept with him. No, she wanted to set the standards right. So he said, he respected that, and he took her home. So that was nice. But, I hope, type in the comments and let me know. Do you think that this brother's on legit, or there's something not right with him? I'm hoping, because they look so good together, that, this really works out. I know he's wealthy, has businesses, but, it's always something. I don't know, Tyler. Don't put nothing in there crazy. But I'm hoping this works out. But, it's always a little twist. So far, so good. We'll see. But if you think so, let me know what you think. Now, we zoom on to Fatima getting to the house. And she sees Zach and give him her little hug and kiss. And then he slaps her with the papers. Bam! She like, really? Another one? And I can't blame her. These babies, ain't none of them mine. He was like, oh, we could change that or whatever. I'm like, okay, Zach, you sound good. That sounds good, but let's back up, because coming from her perspective, I got to deal with Karen and her BS. Now I got to sit up here and do with some random chick, and he swore up and down he did not know her. This woman, she was like, she can't get a court order, and that's what I'm saying. You have to have actual facts and information on someone. That's what sometimes I'm like, let's get to the reality of this, Tyler. Evidently, I hope it's spun where, this woman really went to court. She had his information, and she had some actual tests, but he didn't even get a chance to go to get tests yet, because he hasn't been to court. And you just had this man locked up based on a court order, which it makes absolutely no sense. So I want to see how this spins out, because she's claiming, no. I don't see how this is happening. And I really can't either, Fatima, because you have to bring actual facts in order to go to court and have someone arrested because they didn't go, they failed, or they didn't comply with the court order. But if he never knew of this, how are you arresting him? Make it make sense. Make it make sense, Tyler, okay? But anyway, for the sake of TV, that's what happened. And, he was saying no. And he said, you believe me, right? And she's like, she don't want to say man to say. You believe me? Well, sort of, or something she said. But her thing was, you could have did something years ago. This is over 3 years ago. This is before Karen or whatever, or, in the midst of Karen, you could have cheated on her. I mean, he could have very well been drunk or hot, whatever. Zach used to really be out there like that. And yes, he's cheated on her. He admitted that. But he claimed he hasn't, he didn't do anything. So she pretty much, for the majority, probably 95%, believe him and forgave him. However, he sees some glass in her hair. He looking at her like, what's going on? Like, when she came through the door, like, what's going on? And she said that she went over there and did something because she thought, to Hayden, because she thought, he had something to do with it. And she was like, glass? And then she puts it in her pocket. He's like, you put in the glass? She was like, evidence. He was like, you do this on a regular, right? Like, you always doing the most. And she is, but she crazy. And he love her for it. Because, you know, you just as crazy, Zach. Probably was crazier back in the day. So, crazy love crazy. So, she said, let's, you know, just go in the shower, get cleaned up. She was like, no, you know, too much dust. I'd rather go home. He was like, well, I'll come by later. And she said, no, I'm tired. I got to get up work early in the morning. He was like, you could just lay there and I'll do the rest. I'm like, okay, Zach, daddy. Okay, Zach. Oh, you so smooth. I love Fatima. You know that's Zach and Fatima. They little pun name, but everybody loves that couple. And speaking of love, the couple, we'll get into Karen in a minute. Oh, Lord, putting a dent in their action. But now, here we go to the next scene with our boy Q on the couch. I'm like, Joker, Maurice, don't cave in. Maurice, don't cave in. But he's laying there, and of course he gets up and sneak in Maurice's room. We knew he was going to try something. We knew he was going to try something, but I am so happy that Maurice stood his ground. Yes, he told him, get out of here. You know, oh, I just want to hold you and all this, and you know how vulnerable Maurice can be. But he held his ground. Q was telling him how he had such a good heart and he believed in him when no one did. And Maurice does have a big heart, and that's why he even let him in the door to begin with. But this man did some crazy stuff, come in your apartment, held you gunpoint, got arrested. It's just too much, and could have jeopardized and caused you to lose your job, your livelihood, your coins. You ain't worth it. I don't know you like that. And so I'm like, no, Maurice, you got to have more love for you than your attraction or urge for this man. So he held strong. He said, go back in the living room, go in the living room, please, because he was struggling with this, like, please. So he told him, Q was saying how he don't like to be alone. He said, well, you're not alone. I'm here, you know, and Calvin's here. And he was like, you serious? And he was like, yes, leave. And he said, okay, I don't want to make you mad. So he left. So, of course, the next morning, he's banging the pots, telling him he got to get his behind up and, you know, and leave. And he was like, are you serious? Where I'm going to go? Because, of course, he told his parole people that he was going to be there. He said, I'm sorry. He was like, well, you going to hang outside? Maurice like, oh, God, no. Well, you going to get up out of here because you ain't robbing me. And I don't blame him. I'm like, yes, Maurice, yes. Get the heck up out of here. So he left. Of course, he going to be hanging out. Calvin's laughing at him. He was like, what? He was like, he's like a stray dog, like some stray animal or something, he told him. And he looking pitiful. But I'm sure he's surprised too that Maurice stood his ground. He was like, Calvin's like, I gotta find my own place. All this noise and banging or whatever. But it is what it is. I'm just glad Maurice, you know, stood strong and put Q behind out, because I don't want them together. I don't care how pitiful you are or how much you may care or whatever for Maurice. You put him through a lot, and no, it's just too much bad crap with us that, no. Hanging in, Maurice, hanging in. Now we get to old girl Karen getting to the shop, and she irks me. Anybody knows me that knows about, we had conversation about this show. No, I'm sorry, old girl. I understand your issues with Zach, but you didn't want him. You had the man put in jail. You didn't care if he was locked up because you thought he stole your little money, and he didn't even do it. Now he's happy with someone. You want him back. No, 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 no. The stupidity of it all, to think that Aaron literally, and please comment in the chat on that you sleep with two men like a day apart or what have you. I don't care if it was within that same week. There's a strong possibility that one or the other, 50%, is the father of your child. To come on, Karen, I thought you was like smarter than that. She wants Zach to be the father of her baby so bad that you would ignore the fact that right behind him you slept with Aaron. Like, come on. Not only is that nasty to me, like, whatever, not judging, but I'm just saying, because of these reasons right here, you wouldn't have these kind of problems if just deal with one man at a time. But you did that. call it state of vulnerability. I'm not judging because we've all done stupid stuff in the past. But don't sit up here, Karen, and act like this man can't be the father too. Well, anyway, nosy Pam, she asked Pam why she there so early. Of course, Pam's like, nothing, I'm setting up, I'm doing whatever. Pam irks the heck out of me. But she's going through, why she's there and thinking it's for just cause. And Pam like, no, you being nosy. Then she fills it in with the 411 that Zach got locked up. Of course, she's like, oh. She said, well, I thought you would have knew because, he called you to bail him out. She was like, well, I guess he got Fatima for that. His woman. Yes. Yeah. But she didn't bail him out. But yeah, that's who we would go to if he needed it. It wouldn't be you anymore, Karen. So Aaron's coming by to take her to the doctor. Finally, I can't wait for these tests. And she's trying to tell him, don't get your hopes up, that ain't the case. He was like, I'm like, Aaron, you hang tough, bro. Because yes, there's a strong possibility you are the father. You are the father. I cannot wait till that happens. Please open up the envelope, Maury, and tell Karen, Zach is not the father. And if she was on Maury, she'd be one of those ones flying off and hiding under a couch, laid out on the floor, hollering to, running off in embarrassment. Hoping. I'm hoping. What do y'all think about Karen, that whole Zach situation? What do you think will come out? Please comment so we can get into that, because I understand you hurt and y'all been through something, you had history and you still love him, but some things you just have to let go, because he's better now. Because sometimes there are women who will make you better, bring out the best in you, speak life into you, and you just didn't do that for Zach. Yeah, he had issues and you put up with a lot of crap, but you didn't have to put up with that. But she came to him from a different angle, and sometimes it's just not that you two aren't good people, you're just not good for each other. You're just toxic for each other, and you have to understand that. Now you have a man that's really into you, even though I still got my little doubts on Aaron sometimes. I'm like, preacher man, wife got killed, all that drama that went on, I wouldn't even be so bothered with him. But he loves you, and he's willing to take on this child regardless. So let's see, Karen. Let's see. But they went on to the doctor, and all I can say, Karen, is THERAPY. You need it, honey. Seek it ASAP. For you be done stressed throughout this whole pregnancy. If there is one, or, but that's a whole nother story for another time. Now, we get to Andi. She calls Dani. And come to find out, she saw Fuego when she went to put in some, type in the laptop. She needs some electrical business because she thinks that, of course, Gary's spying on her. So she wants somebody to come and, I guess, put equipment in the penthouse suite, So she sent the picture, and then like, yes, that's Fuego. Oh, he's dancing, but she, said he did go to college. I think he took communications or something. So he is an intelligent brother. He just happened to dance. That's where the money at. But he also has his business where he does electrical work. So, of course, Dani is Dani. So you wake up in her beauty rest, and she not wanting to be bothered. Because, of course, side note, she's stressing on Preston. She got that whole battle going on. With, messing with Fuego, and still, have her feelings for Preston. So she basically told her, go ahead, get the work done, are you sure? And yeah, deal with that. So she said okay, and she's gonna call Fuego up to get this work done. And that was basically it, with that scene. Now Sabrina though came to visit to let her know about her little date with the African king. And Dani was happy about that. Dani was happy that, she let Panty Boy, as she calls him, chill and not dealing with that whole situation. But she honestly had a good time, and she said she didn't want the night to end. She had a nice glow going to work with her little yellow dress on. I'm like, okay, I love this sister. If anyone has seen her or follow her channel, I love her positivity. Novi, I think Novi Brown, love her spirit. Saw her and her man for the first time on IG last week, I think. But I just love her personality. sometimes they dress up kind of granny-ish on the show, as a banker. I don't know, because she has that role and that character, but she's a real fly sister. She's beautiful. She can dress, nice hairstyles, just exuding her melanin and her blackness. So shout out to Novi. I absolutely love her. So so she told her about that. So Dani, she was happy that she got her little groove on, and so hopefully that turns out good. Now, what happened next? Let me see. Okay, so Dani did one of the things that Sabrina had told her was that she messed up with Preston, and she did what she had to do at the time. And there's been a lot of debate I've had in different groups regarding this whole situation. Everyone's saying, oh, Dani's stupid, her issues from the past, got messed up stuff with Preston. But even though Preston's playing a white guy in the show, but he's in actuality he's not in reality. But playing this white guy, and you with a sister, and the dynamics, this is your first time of that whole black and white thing in your family, and how your brothers came at me on my job threatening me, and you just feeling all loose to that privilege to just come up in my apartment when you want, because you think we hitting it off and you used to that. It's a different dynamic from when you was dating someone white, Preston. You dealing with someone black now, so our relationship and our history is different. So things that may affect us may go different. And I think she just really wanted him to understand the things that he was doing, and he really felt she didn't want to be bothered, want to get in bed with somebody else, and the whole situation that was going on with Fuego. But it's not. And I understood how Dani felt and respected my boundaries. I'm getting used to going with a white man for the first time. This is your first time dealing with a black woman, and it's things and dynamics that you need to understand that why I would feel the way I did on regarding what we've been going through and how you've been doing stuff and how you've been crossing certain boundaries, and that level of respect you need to give me and not coming off on me as a privileged white man. So I get that. And even though Sabrina said she messed up, I think they have to have another conversation, but they really have to have a serious conversation, and Preston needs to listen, because come to find out, I didn't realize that, but he was taking advice from Zach. And I was, because they mentioned that Karen, I think in the Karen and Dani and Karen, or all the girls were together, and she mentioned it. I'm like, Zach ain't got nothing to do with that. I guess he met this girl wherever. Come to find out, when Preston came to the apartment, they spoke. He did put him up to getting her jealous with this other woman, and he told him, I don't think it's gonna work. So they need to quit the games and really just have a heart-to-heart and see where they're gonna go, because I like them together. But I think they, there has to be a level of understanding, a level of respect, if they're gonna really grow that relationship, because they both care about each other. But they have to really do it right and have that mutual respect. So speaking of Preston and Zach, he goes over there. He's so happy, Zach, with his place, talking about sconces and stuff. You may not know about sconces, but and of course he's white. He's like, yeah, I know. He named the kind of sconce he like. He was like, you know about sconces? Oh, you white, I forgot. You do know about sconces. So that's when they started talking about that situation that it's not working out with how the advice he gave him regarding Dani, and how they need to work that whole dynamic out. And I'm like, Zach, you just getting yourself together now with Fatima. Before, you was crap when it came to relationships too. So now you want to give advice, and you're giving the wrong advice playing these games. So Zach, sit down on this one. He should not have came to you for advice on this. But Dani is his girl, and he loves Dani, Zach. So I guess that's why he felt comfortable to go to him. So then the guy, I forgot his name, the attorney, the guy that works with Gary at the firm, he's trying to prep Zach for the SEC. Now I'm hoping this guy, because I really wasn't trusting him, because I don't trust Gary, and they work together. But then I see at the office from last season, the dynamic between Gary and this guy is a little different, even though they work together. So I'm hoping he would really do right by Zach. But in case they do slip up when it comes to these stocks, he's prepared with the right lingo. And I just hope a brother giving him the right advice. He asked him, was Fatima upset about what happened? And she said, we talked about it, she good. He was like, what? He like, probably like, what kind of woman you got and what she made out of? And we need to double date because she needs to rub off on my lady. Sidebar, he was like, oh, lady, okay, good. Because I was starting to wonder, like, what you think? You thought you thought he was gay? Zach, I'm like, what was up with that comment? Because I wasn't getting that vibe from him. But yeah, so he said they're going to take the time to prep, and in the meantime, Preston is helping him put his stuff away. Now, as we end off the night, old girl is coming to the job with her red dress on. Yes, our girl Fatima. And lo and behold, you know, Hayden coming in. What you doing? She's like, I'm ready to go to work. Like, leave me alone. He was like, oh, no, not yet, or some mess. I'm like, Hayden, what you up to? In walks the cops. Popo coming there to pick her up. He was like, really? This is what we doing? You coming to get arrested? I'm glad you did what you did because I got it all on camera. And I'm filing charges. Now, welcome to my world. You're going to have to know you can't do whatever you want to do. There are legal repercussions. So you're going to find out what the law and justice is all about. Now, welcome to my world. I'm like, yo, Hayden, did that pop with them brass knuckles not do enough for you? You know, did you not getting beat up and hung out on the roof of your car not enough for you? No, you about to see Fatima's world. You don't know her family, where she from. You don't know the clout she got on the streets or in high places. You don't know who you dealing with. Because old girl was just as calm, and she was like, okay, we're going to do this. And because his ego against Zach, you know, you want to deal with thugs and those from the hood or whatever, then this is what you're going to get. It's all a vendetta because you hate that she picked Zach over you. You wasn't good enough for her, bro. You ain't do it for her in the bedroom. You ain't do it for her mentally. You a dork, whatever you want to call. You just acting like a little thirsty little punk right now, and I could see why she wasn't into you. Just the way you handle things alone. It's just, you just don't have that swag and flavor that she's looking for. I wouldn't personally be interested with you either. You get on my last nerve. But he's all happy now because she went to get arrested, and she'll be out in a minute. And now I'm like, one night is Zach, and then next night is his woman. Ooh, wait till Zach finds out that she's locked up, and it's because of Hayden. I hope Zach doesn't do anything crazy with Hayden, nothing to mess him up or get in trouble. We'll find out this season what's up with that old boy prepping him for the SEC. Hope nothing comes up with that and these whole stock issue. We'll see what this pregnancy is going on and the results of Karen's pregnancy tests, and yeah, what's gonna happen with Dani and Preston this season, and Andi in this new place, and what she's gonna do about what's the guy, Robin versus Gary. We got a lot to find out. Oh, and old Q and Maurice. I hope he hurry and get on out. And let's see the African King and Sabrina keep rubber-dub-dubbing, okay? So we are going to see how all of that unravels this season. I'm so excited because we got a lot going on. So thank you for joining my channel. Until next time, stay authentically you and continue living the life you deserve. Till next time, peace.